Hey everyone, welcome to Backpacking with Buckley. Sorry it's been a while since I've been around, but the fact of the matter is, there's some pros and cons with seasonal park work. The cons? I'm actually working 5 or 6 days a week, and with the weather, a balmy 92 degrees today, it's dangerously hot, and arguably, probably not the right time to have fun on a backpacking trip. But at any rate, I have a lot of adventures planned this summer, and I'll be catching up real soon with that, along with some cool new gear videos. But before we do that, I thought maybe I'll talk a little bit about just what these Badlands are all about. So first and foremost, I just like to say that the South Dakota Badlands are the OG of Badlands. In other words, they were the first ones to be named that, and there are several Badlands across the country, but South Dakota is the first one. So I'm no scientist, but as you can see, there are several different layers to these Badlands formations, and they date back to 73 million years ago, which predates the dinosaur extinction. Each layer of these formations represents a different period in time, anywhere from, again, 73 million years ago up to about 39 million years ago, or 33 million years at the top of these peaks. It's been everything from a jungle to a sea to a savanna to what we see today as a semi-arid climate, that is the Badlands. Now, one particular myth about the Badlands is it's famous for dinosaurs. That's not actually true. They've never found any dinosaur fossils here because during that time, I believe this was an ocean. But there are fossils abound to be found out here, and they are everything from sea life to alligators to hippopotamus-like creatures, prehistoric horses and dogs, and about everything under the sun that you probably heard of, and a lot more that you've never heard of. So when it comes to fossils, I was always wondering, why can't you pick them up if you find them out here? Well, I finally learned that there's a logical explanation behind that. And that explanation is quite simple, actually. The fossils cannot be picked up or should not be picked up. Instead, you should take a photo, and if you have the technology to do so, drop a pin on where you found that fossil. Because oftentimes, that fossil is lying in a place where there may be more fossils, or it may be in a place where they need to find out what layer that fossil came from so they can accurately date it. One of the best examples of why you don't remove fossils in the park is what they call the Great Pig Dig. A few hikers found some bones sticking out of formations a few years back, and they did what they were supposed to do. They took pictures, they dropped a pin for the National Park Service, and when the National Park Service returned, they found over 11,000 different fossils. Now, the reason all these fossils were congregated in one area is because it was a floodplain when it was a savanna, and when animals returned to what they thought was a watering hole, turned out to be a mud hole. And unfortunately, they found their death in a mud hole, which resulted in us and paleontologists finding over 11,000 different fossils in that area. So there's one great prime example why you don't remove fossils from any park. So today's Badlands are a semi-arid environment, and there's no potable water here whatsoever. So one of the most appealing parts of this place is that it is semi-arid. As you can see, we're in green season. There's grass to contradict these massive clay formations, and it's a beautiful time of year to be here. But at 90 degrees today, it's awfully darn hot, as temperatures are amplified because of the color of these formations reflecting the sun right back on you, and of course, the lack of shade. So despite the lack of potable water and what seems to be an uninhabitable environment, the Badlands host a lot of different wildlife. Everything from bison to bighorn sheep, prairie dogs, rattlesnakes, antelope, mule deer, badgers, black-footed ferrets, and a ginormous amount of different types of bird species, including one of the burrowing owls that a lot of birding people really seek to see. So that, folks, is a Cliff Note version of what Badlands National Park is all about. It's a beautiful place to be, and it's like living on a different planet, quite frankly. I'm really excited to share it with you when I get some extra time off so I can do some backpacking out here, share some new gear and reviews, and of course, some new trip videos. So without further ado, we'll see you real soon.